The next question. The ojiji man. Well, their question is the blue man. They're referencing the ojiji. Is he me? As in Damilare. And what is his story? This is a question that a lot of people have wanted me to answer. Okay. Welcome to another First and the 15th, hosted by myself, Damilare. Ojiji. So you go, Ojiji. Ojiji is a figment, not a person. So, Ojiji is us, we. Or it could even be thought of as they, but it is us, we, right? It is a figment of humanity. Anyways, let me read what I wrote. Ojiji is the tension of two objects before collision, the sensation of two bodies in harmony, and the effervescence of a body at rest. So it's those three things, right? So meditation or prayer, tension, conflict, and also harmony, joy also. So keep those three words in mind because they continually come up, not just in the videos. I had to ask myself, where are we now? Where are we going? How do I orient myself in the world in the moments where there's tension, when I'm meditating, when I'm creating, and when I'm having fun? Do we live in the moments of that memory, or are we beside ourselves, as in living in another space while that moment is happening? You know those times whereby you're outside and you're like, I should be working right now, but instead I'm outside having fun. We're talking about that right now. Are we beside ourselves and outside of ourselves and disassociating? So ojiji is the unmasking of our realities. So there are people that are outside supposed to be having fun, but instead of doing that, they're like, I should be inside working, and vice versa. There's people that are inside that are working and asking themselves, what am I doing here? I should be having fun. Everybody's disassociating everywhere. What is with this tension? Why can't we be still in the moment and ask ourselves the question, can human life be more than what someone has told me it should be? And for me, as Damilare, right, people know, and at least in my friend circle, right, I say people, my friend circle, like all 8 people that are going to be watching this probably know this as well. But I've asked myself philosophical questions, and we all ask ourselves philosophical questions, right? But me personally, as Damilare, I ask people these questions that pop into my head because this is the way that I like to communicate. I communicate in this way. This is the way that I have fun. I read extensively on matters, maybe not psychological matters, because I kind of assessed after reading quite in depth about the human mind and the psyche, that it is better to live in the reality than learn about reality from books. It is better to live in the reality that you're living and the context of your time than to try and learn it from books. So all of the people that are talking about our time, that are trying to give us, how people are thinking outside, I don't know, man. I couldn't buy into that type of lifestyle anymore. Not that I did, but yeah, I would much prefer to live my life and learn about new people, and that's what I did. So from time, woo, golly, oh gosh, oh my. So what I did was I learned about different cultures. I learned about cultures in, Malaysia. I learned about cultures in Nepal. I learned about China. I learned about my friends all over the diaspora and, in South America as well. International friends that are middle class, friends that are working class, and friends that come from families which have wealth, right? They have no class because they don't work. So anyways, so yeah, like, why are we disassociating and why are we acting in this manner, and why can't we live in the moment of our times? Because I really did ascertain that when I'm outside, I want to be having fun when I'm outside, and this is a time for rest, so I should be resting. I'm not gonna beat myself up and say, oh, I should be working while I'm sleeping, somebody else is working. Bro, to rest is to work better. This is for all the men out there. This is where someone called me fruity one time, because I do care about men's mental health, and I have done for the whole of my 20s, and I will do for the rest of my life. Yo, rest is an integral part of working. You are your most optimal when you have had the maximum amount of rest that your individual body needs. So if it is 6 hours, let it be 6. If it is 10, let it be 10. If it's 12, let it be 12. But just know, when you are working, when you are your most optimal self working, then be that person. People work 8-hour days, but out of those 8 hours, they probably work, like actually do their actual job that they get paid to, for 3 hours. And in between, all manner of things happen. Having coffee, having a talk, doing all of these things, doing all of those things, right? Even if it's like, let's say 3 hours, or even 6 hours, right? Let's say upper end 6, lower end 3. You can do and maximize those minutes just by repeating those things, repeating those tasks, because really and truly, a business is a bunch of repeated tasks over and over an extended period of time that allows you to achieve KPIs that are daily, that extend to yearly, obviously quarterly and monthly, but relax, and then 5-year marks and 10-year marks, right? That is what a business is. And if you know where you're going, you know what you need to do today. And if that is working for 3 hours or 6 hours in the day, you can maximize that time, and you will be working more than other people anyways. So yeah, that is me answering that question in an extensive manner. That is what the Blue Man is. It's the unmasking of the human psyche and our realities, right? So you can supplicate and admire. You can be fruity and dance. Corazon means heart. I used to call my friends Corazon. You get it? You get it? I used to call my friends Corazon. So, heart. Shout out to Corazon Rocinante, man, from the Don Quixote Familia. Do you get it? For those who know, and those who don't, get to know, fam. Corazon is my guy. Anyways, you can, and then friendship. Unmask your friendships, fam. Unmask your tensions. Unmask all of these things. Do you know what I mean? Anyways, so the next question. I see a lot of symbolism in your art. What is it that draws you to this? Okay, symbolism, I'll read what I wrote. Symbolism is my first instinct when I'm making art. Since I did my first project in GCSEs, it was about decay, right? And human memory. And my first story in college, which was about 2 brothers that were separated at birth, and one took a dark path and the other was raised to take a light path. You can think of it like Killmonger and Black Panther. And that is like kind of where it starts, and where it grows into is that I've always been drawn to it, but then it started to evolve itself. So as you can see, the little language over here, all of these things mean things, right? This is runes from an old African text, the way that we used to write before, or should I say scribe would be the most apt term. And I took so many years out to be a researcher. And one thing I learned about in my research, especially in formal education, because I did used to really, really love the European educational system until I found out that it excluded me. So then I had to search high and low for books. I'd search high and low for books that were about me and where I came from. And then because Africa, not necessarily Africa, but Nigeria in particular, has a lot of extensive writing on it, I was able to read those ones easily or easier than the rest. And because I grew up within a Nigerian system, not to say that everyone who grew up in a Nigerian household knows what I know, like I'm quite particular in that aspect. I search for these pieces of information, but I already had a bunch of that pieces of information. But what I did look for more so than anything else was the other places like Congo, right? And understood what, their water spirits are and all of these other things, and the Kappa and what it means over there, their writing systems, the Fulani, and the Nok Empire, the Ko Empire, the Edo Empire. There, in so far as to say, it is an enjoyable part of the process, and it makes itself manifest for me, because I'm kind of the type of person that just loves language, and language will manifest itself in my art, just as we started this with what is sans elegante, and it comes from sans serif, also the writing there. So it does find itself, because I used to do graffiti art when I was a young buck, and I used to graph in my planner, and I used to graph in my art book, and I used to teach myself how to do burners and everything like that. Not saying that I did any graffiti ever in this life, but yeah, I used to do all of that. I had a tag and everything, right? Having a tag when you were 12 to 15 growing up where I grew up, it was important. You were either younger, older, you know what I'm saying? Poser, Sparker, Knuckles, Lil Knuckles, Baby Knuckles, Younger Knuckles, ding ding ding. Older boxer. Bro, shout out to the you know what I'm saying, fam. Shout out to the you know what I'm saying. Anyways, so yeah, all of these things, like, so everything is symbolic in everything. So what you will find in my art is that there isn't just symbolism. They are symbols, because I'm having a mimetic dialogue. I am talking in memes. And the best way to understand certain memes, right, because I understand this is quite abstract. Supplication and admiration is quite abstract. But when you replicate human forms such as this, right? This. You understand a little bit more what it means, which is why, preacher, choir, congregation exists. You understand a little bit what this means. Amnesty, Adura Magba, it's creation of Adam. It takes from there, so I talk in memes, right? I'm a millennial at the end of the day. I love a good meme. Anyways, but yeah, man, shout out to that. So, but anyways, next question.